when he got to Cali, I met him at his store. You know what I mean? We made the What's the Deal tape, starting off with the No Limit track, and then What's the Deal, which is the title track. And then, like I said, I introduced him to K-Lou. We did those tracks with K-Lou's. And the other 2 tracks, he kind of came to Cali with that Master P rolling. This is all on the What's the Deal project. And then he had these other songs like a slow joint called Why You Do What You Do. So, I mean, I was officially one of the first members of No Limit when P got to Cali. You know what I mean? When my homeboy introduced me to him. And, you know, we went into this venture dreaming to be like Eric B. and Rakim and all the greats. You understand? So when the Untouchables was actually being formed, we came to a conclusion he needed more money. So that's when I invested some money and I got a contract. And we both signed it. You know, I was kind of green to the game, but, you know, I didn't know about having a witness and taking it to a lawyer. But, you know, I mean, I still got that paperwork to this day with the No Limit stamp on it. That's why I always say I was trying to be a general and trying to be 50-50 in No Limit Records. You know what I'm saying? Like, understanding the value of being an executive in a company and not just a, industry cat. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So you initially invested in No Limit.
Exactly. And it was after the What's the Deal and the real first project called TRU. That's where the money was going toward, you know. And the contract states that we're going to recoup the money and keep investing it like you do when you're trying to build a business. You know, you want to get the ball rolling, so you create the tapes. Jason Blaine helped distribute them. You know, I went to the swap meet in L.A. It was out there. You know what I mean? Like my homeboy Big O said, it was floating around in all the little record stores, Cheese and Uzi, and Jones and Harris, and all the little Bay Area. But when I went to L.A. before King George and them so-called took this trip, because, I mean, I had a little bit more money because I was already working, you know what I mean, at a good job. You know, they were still kind of struggling with it. I had been back and forth to L.A. a few times. We was all kids at that point, but I had, you know, when I graduated, I was going back and forth to L.A. So I was already in that circuit, you know what I mean, going to, you know, I met DJ Yell at Venice Beach and the whole wrecking crew, you know what I mean? So I was already deep in it, you know what I'm saying? So when Pete came, you know, he had those dreams, and I was already kind of experiencing it because I've been DJing since I was 12 years old. You understand what I'm saying? So I was there in the very beginning when all the real DJs started as far as Cash Money, not Cash Money Records, but DJ Cash Money from New York, you know what I mean? Grandmaster Flash and Jam Master J, you know what I'm saying?
DXT, Mr. Mix, Ready Red.
Yeah.
You're part of that culture. You're part of that, the art of scratching and cutting, and you know that is missed right now in hip hop, man.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's definitely needed. You know, but I'm looking at these pictures of you and Master P, man. You guys looked, you know, almost like that, you know, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince type thing, like the Rob Bass and Easy Rock, or Eric B and Rakim, like the DJ and the rapper. That's how these pictures look. Was that how it was set up? Like, was it going to be like a Master P and DJ Grandmaster Scratch type thing at first?
Exactly. That's where it was headed. That's what we were striving for. You know what I mean? That's why it was so organic. How it started, me being with another crew, similar to Ice Cube, having Sir Jinx and a little, you know, CIA crew. I forget the name of them, but, you know, before they merged with Ruthless, you know what I mean? It was like, I didn't want, CIA, I didn't want to leave my little HTC crew. There you go. You know what I mean? So that's why I brought my homeboy Chili D in it, because I was still holding on to my roots of HTP. And when you hear No Limit, he's shouting us out at the end, talking about Richmond, HTP, and K-Lou, because I wanted to get those credits. You understand what I'm saying? Because I already knew how powerful that was. I wasn't just jumping on No Limit right away, but when I made that investment, hell yeah, I was trying to be definitely part of No Limit because I could see where it was going as far as his ambition. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it was more of a serious business than us growing up, loving Run DMC and growing up with all the music. But when I met P, I had a feeling that, he was going to take it to where he took it, regardless of how it started out. Like I said, we had product to show. A lot of people didn't have that in the hood, and it was like Too Short selling CDs in the open and going to Royal Park and catering to all the D-boys out there with his music. It was the same movement. So that's why, regardless of how it looked, I was with it. You know what I mean? I was definitely with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looked like you guys were going for that type of vibe right there.
Yep.
So the music starts getting made. You know what I'm saying? You had the connections. You know what I'm saying? You weren't green to this. You already were establishing yourself as a DJ in the music scene there. Now, Chili, that's Chili Powder, right?
Nah, Chili D. Chili Powder came afterwards. This was in the very beginning, the first TRU. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I say, Chili D and P, they used to kind of clash, and I would have took it farther maybe if I hadn't run into the group, but he was my member. I grew up with him, so at the end of the day, I never had no regrets with that. But, like, all the beef my homeboy Chili D had was real talk because we was cut off a different cloth. You know, like, if he said, I got funk, what do I do? Get on the telly and call up my crew. He'd be like, what is funk? You know, he'd always want to have writing credits and try to change our words, but we was like, we from the Bay. So we spoke, the language that we spoke, you know what I mean? Just like E40, with his language, you know what I mean? We had our own style. So, he wanted to try to change that, and my homeboy didn't want it. And I didn't really want it either because we was more trying to be like the greats, you know what I mean? So he just didn't really understand that language at the time.
So he was trying to take it somewhere else, and you guys kind of didn't understand where he was coming from, him being from the South. That had to have been like pretty awkward at first. You know what I'm saying? This dude comes in from out of town, and within a couple of years, he's just taking over the hip hop game.
Yeah, word.
Did you see that happening though? Did you see? I mean, you knew he had the hustler's ambition, but did you know he was going to take it that far?
To tell you the truth, I knew he was because he never had a regular job. You know what I mean? So he always was a hustler. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the workforce. Like I was doing my little job, so I'm thinking I made it at that point. But I'm still trying to embrace this hip hop shit. But I'm like, at the time, not thinking he's gonna take it that far. But at the same time, I knew his hunger was so strong that he was gonna do something. I always use that timeline as a structure because it's like from like a 6 to 7, 8 year period of you grinding, and being really passionate about your craft, you're going to end up seeing something happen. You know what I mean? It's persistence. And that's what he had. He had that persistence.
He had the longevity.
I knew he had it. And people I was working with started, talking about him, and I'm like, I knew he wasn't never going to stop, you know what I mean? But, like, I chose another lane. I'm still in it, but, it's like a lot of interviews I'm hearing, a lot of people like to sensationalize these stories and stuff like that. Like, the TRU picture. I mean, I chose that spot. You know what I mean? Because I'm from Hilltop. Like King George was saying, they got these different valleys. But, like, I'm the one that scoped that spot out because, they build a mall and then they build the outskirts of a mall. But, they did the excavation, but the buildings weren't actually set. So I've seen some of these spots where I knew we could dip in there and take those pictures. You know what I mean? But, it's been 30 years, you know what I mean? So a lot of people, they like to, glamorize a lot of stuff. But I'm just trying to let the truth be known, the real truth, you know what I mean? Like, coming to Richmond, getting laced up, when he came out with that song, Lay Low or whatever, I was really shocked he was on that track. But he was, like, shouting out Richmond. And I'm a mixtape DJ, so I made a little comment on there saying, he came to Richmond and we laced his shoes up, then he took off, you know what I mean? And it's real talk because, I mean, when you get baptized with the Richmond vibe and our whole little hip-hop culture, it does something to you. The timing got to do with everything. You know, if he hadn't came to Richmond and me not hooking him up with K-Lou, you never know how his career would have took off. It would have been, you looking for, you know, a dope studio to go to. So it would have been it might have been years before you found that. Because K-Lou wasn't even really into hip-hop. You know, they did the N2V joint, but he was more like a cameo R&B type of cat. You understand what I'm saying? So he had the skills, and that's what made his music dope. He played instruments, and he knew his instrumentation, and he knew how to do it, be an audio engineer. You know what I mean? So obviously, after we got this assembled, they still kept going to K-Lou, so that just lets you know it was a good spot to be at.
How long total were you working with P, from the time he touched down to the time you decided to leave?
You said, how long did I work with him?
Yeah.
We worked together as far as probably 3 years, 2.5 years, from 89 to 90, almost leading into 92. You know,
okay.
It started off.
So you were there for the first couple projects then?
Exactly. The very first project. On the cover is me and him. What's the deal? King George ain't there. Silk the Shocker ain't there. None of them cats. Big O, nobody. It was just me and Pete. And then,
Silk was
everybody.
Kid, and I don't think he called for C Murder at that time yet. But eventually the tragedy struck. You know, Kevin got killed. Man, that had to have been horrible to see your brother and your friend go through that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. That was tragic. You know, especially being so young, you know what I mean, and having a lot of weight on his back, trying to take care of little Romeo and Sonia and the whole family, you know what I mean? Like, I admire him for, you know, going through that kind of stuff, living in the back of the store and everything like you see on the No Limit Chronicles. It would be like I went to his house, he did a show, and the next day I would go there, and he'd just be moved out. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when he had that type of drive and, you know, that gypsy type of lifestyle where he could just do that, you know, to just save money and put it into his music. You know what I mean? A lot of people not cut off that cloth. You know what I mean?
That's sacrifice.
Yeah, that's definitely sacrifice. You know. So
that's one of the things you got to respect about the guy.
Exactly.
That's kind of like Stallone. When Stallone was making Rocky, he sold his dog.
Exactly.
He couldn't even afford to feed the dog. So
and
a year later, he's
like
at the Oscars. So
you got to admire a guy like that. I mean, everybody not cut off that cloth. You know.
Yeah.
Definitely had to
do. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. And you know, now at the No Limit Chronicles, I imagine that's just the beginning. I see a lot of stuff happening. Like they're getting ready to make another an Easy E project. You know what I'm saying? And Straight Outta Compton came out 5 years ago, so you know they're going to keep doing more No Limit stuff. Has anybody approached you to get your story?
Nah, not yet. You know, I hope they do. You know what I mean? 'Cause I think I'm a valuable part of the story. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like,
yeah, absolutely.
I never thought of
I'm honored
P
to
or
interview
them like
you, man.
that.
Real talk.
Yeah, I'm just happy that he made it to that success. I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, I mirror his energy. You know, just the way I carry myself and being successful in my DJ career and still being in this music. It ain't like I'm not a part of it. You know, my kids is, you know, they bloggers, they into videotaping, and my son DJ and rap. You know what I mean? So it's like I never let it go, and I'm never gonna stop doing music. You know what I mean? And he's part of the reason for that. You know what I'm saying? He is part of the reason for that. And all the people that doubted him, I never really had conversations about it because me and Chili D kind of like fell out over this shit because it was like, I wanted to keep rolling, but I went with my original crew members, you know, when we got disassembled. But I never had to say I told you so because all you got to do is turn on the TV. You know what I mean? Like, it's right there in your face. So, what more can you say? But I don't have
in the form of rap snacks, rap noodles. I mean, the guy's a marketing genius. You know. Yeah, I mean, there's just well, he has the ability to reinvent himself over the years.
No, most definitely.
Not a lot of people do that. Plus, no one's really came in and took the game by storm like him. I mean, Easy did what he did. Luke did what he did. Jay Prince did what he did. But P was just a whole nother level.
Yeah, he was.
And if you look at the early In-A-Minute stuff, and before that, what he did with you could see, okay, there's going to be a lot of projects coming. Like he's setting up the TRU. I imagine you were going to do probably mixtapes or something, have your own stuff. Were there plans for stuff like that?
Yeah, it was until, the drama hit. You know what I mean? That's why I tell a lot of people, when you're doing the music, you got to get the contracts and the paperwork straight first because, once you get the uniform and you got the music and then you try to handle the business, that's what happened to us. You read Donald Passman's book, all you need to know about the music business. He said before you even get a piece of equipment, read this book because you got to think about it. They call it the music business for a reason. It's 90% business and 10% music and studio. You know what I mean? So that was one of our mistakes, not taking care of the business in the beginning so everybody could be clear of where they were. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what kind of broke us up when we got ready to sign the contract. But it wasn't like I had signed a contract because me and P had already had a deal, and all the Untouchables, they didn't feel comfortable with it, so that's when everything started breaking apart. But if it would have been more of a professional level, we wasn't so young, this would have been like, I'm going to take this to my lawyer, let him look it over. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of just talking shit and then everything gets disassembled.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like, comment, share. Also go over to UGSforLife.com, download the entire archive, and check out new episodes on Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio.